You pick up your cat, it stays comfortable for a few seconds, and suddenly it's already jumping away as if it were running away from you. And then that uncomfortable thought comes, does it not like me? Did I do something wrong? If you've experienced this, know that you're not alone. And more than that, know that the explanation most people believe is completely mistaken. There's a deeply rooted myth among cat owners, the idea that rejecting being held is the same as rejecting affection. This thought seems logical at first glance, but when we look at feline behavior through the lens of science, we realize that reality is much more complex and much more interesting than it seems. Cats are not dogs. That phrase seems obvious, but it carries a truth that many people ignore when interpreting their own animals' reactions. While dogs tend to express affection in a more explicit and constant way, cats operate from a completely different behavioral logic, shaped by thousands of years of evolution as solitary predators. This means that the way a cat shows trust, affection, and connection doesn't follow the same pattern we're used to expecting. And this is exactly where the mistake that almost every owner makes lies, interpreting rejection of being held as a lack of love, when in reality there are several factors behind this reaction. The animal's genetics, for example, play an important role. Some breeds and bloodlines are naturally more independent, while others are born with a greater predisposition to physical closeness. But it doesn't stop there. Socialization in kittenhood also directly influences this behavior. Cats that had positive human contact as kittens tend to handle touch and physical contact better in adulthood. Those that didn't go through this process may develop a natural resistance to being held, not because they don't trust you, but because they never learn to associate that type of contact with safety. Stay with me until the end, because there's one more point that many people ignore: the need for control. Cats are animals that need to feel like they're in command of the situation. When they're picked up by force, even if it's done affectionately, that feeling of losing control can generate immediate discomfort. And that's what you see as rejection. Add to that previous experiences, positive or traumatic, and you begin to understand that every cat carries a unique history that completely shapes its relationship with touch. And there's still one detail that almost nobody stops to observe: our own body language. That's right, often without realizing it, we're the ones sending signals that make the cat tense before being picked up even begins. What you're about to discover may surprise you, because throughout this video you'll understand, based on the science of feline behavior, why some cats hate being held, why others merely tolerate it out of politeness, and most importantly, what really makes a cat choose, of its own free will, to stay on top of you. And believe me, the answer is much more connected to trust than to affection alone, and that completely changes the way you'll see the next moment your cat jumps off your lap. Before continuing, let me tell you something. If you've made it this far and recognized yourself in every situation I described, that's not a coincidence. That means you're exactly the type of owner who truly cares, who wants to understand their own cat instead of simply accepting ready-made answers. And that's why I need to make you an invitation before moving on to the next part. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment about what touched you most so far. Maybe you remembered that specific time your cat ran off your lap and you were left not understanding why. Maybe you just now realized that the problem was never a lack of love. Whatever thought crossed your mind while watching, share it with me, because real stories like yours are what make this content even richer for everyone here. And look, I know it sometimes seems like a small detail, but commenting completely changes the reach of this video. When you write something down below, you're not just responding to me, you're helping this content reach more owners who are going through exactly the same moment of doubt you've already experienced. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this kind of content. And that, honestly, is worth much more than any number. And since we're talking about strengthening this exchange, go ahead and like this video. It may seem simple, but this quick gesture is what signals to the platform that this content is being useful, that it's generating real value. And that's exactly what ensures that more people just like you find this information at the right moment when they need it most. And if there's one thing I love seeing around here, it's people turning on the notification bell. You know why? Because it means you don't want to miss the next video as soon as it's released. And look, with everything we're still going to explore about cat behavior, you definitely don't want to miss out on this. The notification bell is that little push that ensures we keep this conversation going down the road without you missing anything along the way. And speaking of continuing this conversation, if you're not part of our community on the channel yet, this is the perfect moment to subscribe, because this kind of content, which mixes science, animal behavior, and a lot of honesty about the relationship between owners and their cats, will keep appearing here, and I really want you to be present for every one of these discoveries. That said, let's keep truly understanding what goes on in your cat's head when it decides, or not, to stay on your lap. The hidden truth behind control. Now pay attention to this, because this is where everything starts to make sense. A cat's brain works in a completely different way than we imagine. It doesn't think like us, it doesn't feel security the same way we do, and understanding this difference is the first step of a real transformation in the way you see your cat. Cats are deeply territorial. Even living indoors, surrounded by comfort, the survival instinct remains present within them as part of an evolutionary journey that never ended. Every cat needs to feel like it dominates its own space and can predict the environment around it. And that's what guarantees its sense of security. Unlike us, cats directly associate freedom of movement with protection. Being trapped, immobile, unable to react quickly to any stimulus activates an extreme feeling of vulnerability. And that's exactly what happens when a cat is lifted off the ground. For many of them, that means losing control of their own safety. Studies on behavior and physical handling reveal that the simple act of restricting a cat's movements can generate a measurable stress response, even when the intention behind the gesture is purely affectionate. And this is where one of the biggest revelations of this journey lies. The behavior that seems like a lack of affection may actually be just a natural self-protection mechanism. Comment: feline instinct. The 5 reasons that really explain rejection of being held now. Pay attention to this, because this is where everything starts to make sense. There are 5 main reasons that explain why a cat avoids being held, and it's quite likely you'll recognize your cat in at least one of them throughout this journey of discoveries. The first reason is little socialization in kittenhood. Cats that didn't have positive human contact as kittens grow up without building that foundation of trust that makes touch feel natural. The second reason is previous negative experiences, a scare, rough handling, a poorly conducted vet visit. All of this gets recorded and influences future decisions. The third reason is the most silent of all hidden pain. Many cats avoid being held because they feel discomfort in their joints, spine, or muscles, and the simple act of being lifted intensifies that pain. It's a hidden truth that goes unnoticed by most owners. The fourth reason is a naturally independent personality, something genetic that's part of that specific animal's identity. And the fifth reason, perhaps the most impactful, is the incorrect way the owner picks up the cat, without support, abruptly, or without respecting its own timing. This small everyday detail completely changes the animal's perception of that moment. Comment: my cat identifies with this, the signs your cat shows before fleeing your lap. Now pay attention to this, because this is where everything starts to make sense. Your cat almost never jumps off your lap out of nowhere. Before that, it already tried to communicate several times through signs that most owners simply don't know how to interpret, and this completely changes the way you'll see every moment of contact with it. Pay attention to the tail. When it becomes rigid or when the tip starts moving quickly from side to side, that's already a clear warning of discomfort. The ears also tell the story. When they change position, becoming flatter or turned backward, it's a sign that something there isn't comfortable for the animal. Also notice dilated pupils, a direct indicator of tension and alertness. The cat's body tends to stiffen as if preparing to react, and the paws start seeking support, trying to regain the sense of control mentioned earlier in this journey. Rapid breathing is another detail that goes unnoticed, but that reveals exactly the level of discomfort the animal is feeling at that moment. The impact of this is huge. By the time the cat finally jumps off your lap, it has already tried to warn you several times in subtle ways, hoping you would understand before reaching that point. Comment: I didn't know that. How to earn your cat's trust without forcing anything. Now pay attention to this, because this is where everything starts to make sense. There's a hidden truth that completely changes the relationship between owner and cat, and it's as simple as this. The less you try to force a cat to stay on your lap, the greater the chances it will seek you out on its own. This transformation begins when you let the cat initiate contact. Instead of going to it, wait for it to come to you on its own time. This respects the need for control we already explained in this journey and builds a solid foundation of trust. Positive reinforcement is also part of this mindset shift. Use treats, gentle affection, and a calm tone of voice whenever the cat approaches on its own, creating pleasant associations with your presence. Offering elevated safe spots like shelves or cat trees also helps because it meets its need to observe the environment from a position of control. Gradually getting the cat used to touch, starting with short, light touches, is another essential step in this journey of rebuilding trust. And most importantly, never insist when it shows discomfort. This is one of the biggest revelations about feline behavior. Cats choose to stay close to whoever respects their limits, not whoever imposes contact. Comment, "My cat will trust me." The sign of trust that's worth more than accepting being held. Now pay attention to this, because this is where everything starts to make sense. Being held was never the only proof of a cat's love, and this is perhaps the most important revelation of this entire journey. Many cats deeply attached to their owner show it in completely different ways than we imagine. Notice if your cat tends to follow you around the house, going from room to room just to be near you. Also observe the slow blink, that simple gesture that in feline language represents a true declaration of trust. Sleeping near you, showing its belly, resting its head against you in the famous head bunting. Purring, kneading, or simply brushing its tail against you as it passes by. All of this carries a huge emotional impact, often greater than accepting being held. These small everyday actions reveal the true inner workings of the feline mindset, a form of communication that already exists, but that most owners never learn to decode. And here's the big shift in perspective this video proposes. Every cat shows love in a different way. The secret isn't making your cat fit human expectations, but learning to understand the unique language it already uses every day, even without being held. Comment, "My cat shows love this way." If you've made it this far, that already shows how much you truly care about your cat's well-being. And honestly, that means a lot to me. Every behavior we broke down today is part of a language your cat already uses every day, even though most people never stop to notice. Now, I want to know from you, does your cat love being held, merely tolerate it, or flee? Immediately, tell me in the comments how it reacts and what you discovered in this video. I guarantee you're not the only one recognizing yourself in some of these behaviors right now, and reading your experience could help another owner who's going through exactly the same doubt you've already had. If you haven't liked this video yet, do it now, because every like helps more people avoid silent mistakes and creates a real impact on the lives of cats that depend entirely on their owners to be truly understood. And if you want to keep discovering signs, behaviors, and messages that most people ignore every day, subscribe to the channel now. This journey of better understanding feline behavior doesn't end here, and I really want to keep sharing these discoveries with you before they appear for anyone else. There's a video right here beside this one that complements this topic. Click it and stay with me over there.